Hey there, welcome back to True North Reviews. My name is Ryan, and it's time to wrap up List Season 2018. In this video, I'll be going over my picks for the top 50 albums of the year. Keep in mind, this is a list I compiled based on the albums I actually got around to listening to this year. Of course, I'm not a machine who can devote his entire life to music, so if I missed out on your favorite record, I do apologize, but make sure to comment down below to tell me what it is. Granted, there may also be a chance that I did listen to the album you mentioned, but we're dealing with limited space here with 50 spots. So as an idea for what qualified for this list that I made here, these are all albums that I came back to on regular occasion and ones that personally evoked the most visceral responses that just begged for multiple listens. Some brought me happiness, some brought me sadness, some even brought upon a deeper and transcendent feeling. Overall, they all just sat really well with me and resonated with my love for music. As for genres, I have no restrictions, and I feel like I got a pretty decent variety on here, from rock to hip-hop, metal, pop, jazz, even some punk. So with no further ado, let's jump into the list. I'll breeze through about the first half or so before making more justification with the positioning. Also know that the albums will be linked in the description. At number 50, we have the Revivalists with their roots in Americana rock sound on their record Take Good Care. Following that up at numbers 49 and 48 respectively, we have Vance Joy's Nation of Two and Robin's Honey. At 47, we have a beautiful Swedish folk duo making their mark on the year with their angelic vocal performances on the record Ruins. I'm of course speaking about First Aid Kit. Number 46 sees the first entry from a Canadian artist on this list here, and that belongs to the alternative rock artist Alan Raymond for his record Harry Hardon. Moving on from there, Kurt Weill's Bottle It In takes number 45, while Jason Mraz lands himself in the 44th position for his sixth studio album No. Number 43 belongs to a young, talented, and up-and-coming indie rock artist Snail Mail, as the lead vocalist is only 19 years old, but she sounds mature enough to be compared to the great 90s band of Sonic Youth. Her new record here, by the way, is called Lush. At number 42, easily my favorite southern rock album of the year, and this goes to Nathaniel Rateliff and the Night Sweats. Their record is called Tearing at the Seams. The Canadian crooner Michael Bublé returned with a very personal and heartfelt sentiment on his new record Love, and there's no doubt in my mind that he deserves his spot here at number 41. At number 40, we have the Decemberists and their record I'll Be Your Girl. At 39, we have one of the greatest songwriters of all time, Sir Paul McCartney, and with the exception of one song, namely Fa You, Egypt Station is a solid record, and it's still quite refreshing to listen to the rock that made Paul famous even after the Beatles. At number 38, we have Dan Mangan with his lyrical genius in full display on his indie folk record More or Less. At number 37 and 36 respectively, we have AWOL Nation's Here Come the Runts and Our Lady Peace's new record Somethingness. A haunting fear is shot down my spine with every listen to the Anna von Hauswolf record Dead Magic. This odyssey rings in at number 35 on the list. Anderson .Paak displayed summary and more rap-influenced deliveries on his new project Oxnard, which puts himself in the 34th spot. Meanwhile, the stoner rock band Sleep returned with a heavy, sludgy, and riff-centric record called The Sciences, which is in my 33rd spot. Judas Priest also made a noteworthy return this year with their new record Firepower, taking the 32nd spot by ease. For my 31st pick, we have a great jazz record by Sons of Kemet. This one is called Your Queen is a Reptile, and man, this thing had me dropping my jaw on multiple occasions. I mean, when you have two drummers, a tuba, and a tenor saxophone leading the charge in the instrumentation, this thing automatically perks the ears and deserves a listen. A primal, doom-filled, and glimmer of hope weave their way through the soundscapes of Tim Hecker's new record Kanoyo, which takes number 30. Making no surprises, Rainbow Kitten Surprise are in my number 29 spot for their earworm tunes collected on the project How To, Friend, Love, Freefall. Number 28 sees another jazz record, this time from the Kendrick collaborator Kamasi Washington. His new one is called Heaven and Earth. Definitely a long and winding listen, but worth your time for its dazzling instrumental solos and political focus in the lyrics. At numbers 27 and 26 respectively, we have Tokyo Police Club's record entitled TPC and the glossy Prince-inspired pop record from Janelle Monáe, Dirty Computer. The top 25 albums of the year gets kicked off with the weird and delightfully indulging record Cocoa Sugar by Young Fathers. Number 24 belongs to Blood Orange and their record Negro Swan, an absolutely unavoidable record from 2018 that takes aim at self-love and acceptance. Not only is the lyrical content super relevant, but the synthesizers on this thing will encapsulate you and make you feel like you're in another dimension. The next record kind of gained steam on me as the year wrapped up. I originally gave it a 7 out of 10, but I've since been completely won over by most of its runtime, even though one of the original band members is no longer a part of the fun. This one is Death Cab for Cutie's 9th studio album, Thank You for Today, and it's enjoyable for its reverb vocals on the opening track, the haunting vibes from pretty much the entire thing, and really I'm just in love with the lost and soul-searching kind of feel to this record. At number 22, we have Florence and the Machine's new record High as Hope, a personal yet divine diary-like entry. This thing is inescapable for its somber tones as well as its forceful yet seemingly delicate delivery of vocals. It's another strong album for the discography of Florence and the Machine, a group that can really do no wrong at this point of time. Yukon Blonde hold a special place in my heart. Not only did I have the opportunity to see them perform live this year, but I've had their new record Critical Hit grow on me so much that it's nearly impossible to stop me from playing it back to back with itself. Synth pop and digital age awareness are two things you can really expect on this record, and there's really something for everyone to enjoy. At number 20, we have In a Poem Unlimited by US Girls. This thing is confident, it's sexy, it's beautiful. The standout highlights are from the opening track and another song called Pearly Gates. At number 19 is one of the strongest and easiest to replay pop albums of the year. I'm speaking about Voice Notes by Charlie Puth. This is someone I've seen potential from in the past with a track like See You Again, but also someone I couldn't take seriously because of a song like Marvin Gaye. So I was really turned off on the corny and cliched pop nature of his debut record, something that I would pass off as insufferable. Granted, Charlie didn't really have much say in the recording process of that record, and that's why I'm relieved that Voice Notes injects some much needed human life into the songwriting process. On this new record, Puth was in charge of everything and he didn't put his foot in his mouth. It was really an album that took me by surprise for its sonic influences and just the overall change of direction for Charlie. So looking ahead, I'm really looking forward to whatever Mr. Puth does next. Number 18 belongs to Courtney Barnett's Tell Me How You Really Feel. An artist who is mundane in her delivery, I get it might not be your cup of tea, but honestly it's what really draws me in along with the catchy and badass guitar work. This record is just captivating from start to finish. It calls for your attention but doesn't necessarily beg for it. It can be enjoyed in many settings, and I'm just happy with the artist development. Number 17 on my list is one of my favorite hip-hop records of the year. This one is from Denzel Curry. It's called Taboo, and man, this is my first time checking out this guy, but I'm blown away by the skill, the technical ability, the production, the 808s. Everything on this thing just slaps. It's a great record, but not as great as this next one, as it also happens to be hip-hop. It comes from Post Malone and basically just apply all the same compliments I made to the previous record plus more. Beer Bongs and Bentleys is one of those borderline bloated albums that if you trim the fat by a tiny bit, it could be near perfection. The artist who conceived this project, Post Malone, is rounding out to be a very distinctive voice in the rap game. Someone who has interesting songs that dip their toes in multiple genres while catching an influential sound, something that I would compare to the excitement that came along with Drake's rise to fame in the early 2010s. On Beer Bongs, take a song like Stay for example. It's one that connects on a personal and deeper level, and really in rap I'm one of those fans that looks for vulnerability in the lyrics, not just banger hits that brag for the sake of bragging. Don't get me wrong, bangers are essential, but I like an album that has a balance of that while remaining genuine. And Post Malone's new record has the best of both worlds, plus some infectious poppy hooks too. And just when I thought I was going to be done talking about hip-hop records, we have another great one from Pusha T. This one is called Daytona, and it got released under the Good Music label from this past summer, and it turned a lot of people's heads for good reason. King Push's delivery is confident, his lyricism is witty, his flow is cold and nasty. Not to mention that the production from Kanye West is stellar, and if it were possible to die and to go to heaven by listening to music, this would be the very album to do that. And to think I didn't really listen to this album until November, I was pretty late to getting into it, and yeah, I kind of regret that. However, I am glad that I got to listen to it before the year was out. If you haven't heard it yet, make sure you do, because it's a must listen even if you aren't a big hip-hop fan. You won't get what you want on this next pick because, yeah, it's from Daughters. But really, you get everything you want from this record. It's just so good, and it's not an understatement at all. This album is just fantastic. If there's one word I could use to summarize the entire listening experience of this album, it would be scary. Yeah, you don't really want to listen to this alone, or else you'll just be giving yourself nightmares. And you might think that's a terrible reason to listen to an album if it's going to scare the bejesus out of you. And I wouldn't blame you, but it's a visceral and satisfying record if you want to be scared. Up next, we have one of the later releases of the year. It comes from one of my favorite English artists in 1975. And again, they love their long-ass titles. This new record is called A Brief Inquiry into Online Relationships. And over the course of the summer, I couldn't be bothered to be excited for this record, to be honest. I've passed off many of their singles for being one-dimensional, melodically speaking, but honestly, with time, they've grown on me a lot. And with multiple listens to the entire record since its release, I see some of the comparisons to Radiohead's OK Computer, thematically at least, and I'm glad that this record doesn't take away from the core 1975 sound that made their previous record so great too. I love the poignant tones, I love the crisp and super sanitary production, I love the Britpop feel to these songs as well. Really, the only thing holding me back from praising this album to be the best of the year would be the occasional Bon Iver vocal production choices. At number 12, Franz Ferdinand, their new record lived up to the hype in my opinion. Always Ascending is a great record that has a collection of chaotic compositions that are very colorful and it's very easy to digest. It also has minimal hiccups along the way and it's entertaining from its production to the instrumentation. I just love the overall uplifting energy that this album brings to the forefront. Troye Sivan takes home the 11th spot on my list here for his new album Bloom, an incredible and poignant listening experience. This thing is gorgeous all over, from the vocal performances to the super catchy and infectious hooks to even the overall aesthetic of this dream pop record. It's also sonically focused and it accomplishes everything it sets out to do. Definitely a therapeutic experience that is among one of the most intimate releases of the year, and I can't lie, I did cry a few times listening to the slow burners on this one. Top 10, it's the home stretch. Brockhampton, yeah, I know I'm doing it. I know a lot of fans prefer the Saturation trilogy. But hear me out, Iridescence is my favorite, and it's because it comes at a critical turning point for the boy band. Leading up to its release, not only did Brockhampton lose a member of its group, but they also signed on to a major label of RCA, and really, signing to a major can be a big deal. It can mark a stylistic change that the industry likes putting a lot of pressure on artists to sell out, or they just like overusing formulas to a point where all originality is just gone. But I think with the reflections on the newfound fame and with the help of Abbey Road Studios, the lyrics and the production on this record are improved immensely. The group doesn't cave under the pressure, all while maturing with an original sound in the songwriting process. And to those who think some members get more spotlight than the others, I do see that. But with the potency of the vocal performance from Joba on a track like Jo Vert, it's pretty hard to top that. However, Iridescence is a deep project with many highlights on the tracks Wait, Tape, San Marcos, and Tanya. And oh yeah, this album flows really well. At number 9, it kind of slipped down my list as the year went on, but I still think it's one of the best R&B releases, and this one comes from Leon Bridges. It's called Good Thing. And I still love it, love it, love it. The intimacy and the soul, I can just reach out and touch it. It's so tangible. Not only this, but the record is a step out of the comfort zone for Leon. He hits falsettos like a God-sent angel. I don't know why he didn't do that on his last record. Furthermore, there's some experimental effects on his voice on some of these tracks too, and above all, he just embodies the music he sings. Number 8 goes to 21 Pilots and their record Trench. A magnificent album that's dark, it's catchy, it's mature, all while avoiding the messy kind of genre melding that Blurryface did in my opinion. Really, there's not much else I can say about it that others haven't been saying, so just check it out for yourself. I feel like there's going to be a song that everyone likes. Up next we have number 7, and it's a quick turnaround album from an indie folk artist that I didn't think would go over as well as it did, but it did. God's Favorite Customer is yet another gem from Josh Tillman, or better known as his stage name, Father John Misty. And on his newest record, the personal and disorderly mind of a man is solemnly examined with wit and pretentiousness. Don't worry, the bravado and the ego, it's all very divisive for the enjoyment of the music. But I love it so much. I see the sense of self-awareness on a lot of these tracks, some that immediately catapult themselves to be the best in Father John Misty's discography. At number 6, we're getting experimental with Jack White. Boarding House Reach is the name of his 2018 record. Just imagine screeching guitars, infectious hooks, encapsulating atmospheres. This record has it all. I loved it when it first came out, I love it now, and I'll love it going forward into 2019 and beyond. Number 5, a wonderful post-punk record that I reviewed on the channel this year. It's an excellent, breathtaking, terrific record that just gives me goosebumps when I hear it. It's the sophomore record release from Idols, and it's called Joy as an Act of Resistance. The vocals on this thing are insanely passionate, the instrumentation and performance are lively, dynamic, and spirited. This record just itches every bone of angst in my body. Number 4, Little Dark Age by MGMT. I didn't think they could do it, but they returned from their woes of their previous 2 albums. The synth pop on this record is commendable beyond belief. I love the balance of the retro sounds and the elements of newer production on here that really make it feel fresh and simultaneously timeless. At number 3 is my highest ranked Canadian album on the list, and it goes to none other than Metric for their record Art of Doubt. And man, this album had me doubting its qualities from the get-go, but as a whole and with repeated listens, it immediately rivals all of the band's best material. And of course for 2018, it's the best that synth pop can offer. The guitars are backed by storm, the vocals soar, the production is heavenly. I'm just on cloud 9 listening to this. My number 2 goes to a band even Ellen DeGeneres can get behind, and that is Parquet Courts with their record Wide Awake. This thing is groovy, it's funky, it's amazing, it's everything I could ever want from a punk record plus more. It's politically sharp, it's vibrantly produced by Danger Mouse of all people. It's versatile, it knows when to transition from energetic cuts to slower jams that still don't lose my interest. And that brings us to my number 1, the best album of the year in my opinion. And if you followed my channel since its beginning and you've picked up on what I'm wearing, you should know the answer already. You'll also notice that I've only given it one perfect score since the start of this channel, and that goes to collaborative rap duo Kanye West and Kid Cudi for Kids See Ghosts. And obviously with a perfect score, you'd think it'd be perfect. Well, this thing is damn near close to perfect. It's outstanding, sensational, superb, dazzling, the best of the best, the cream of the crop. Kanye hones the lyricism from his early discography. Kid Cudi finally reaches his potential for greatness. And above everything else, the production is a masterpiece. I mean, you couldn't get a 1930s Christmas song sampled as beautifully as this project does it, with one of the best beat drops of the year on the same song too. You also couldn't get a Kurt Cobain sample to lead up to one of the most transcendent choruses in the same way this album does it. This album twists and turns with incredible pacing, it throws me in a loop every time I listen to it, and it just makes me question my entire existence and challenges my religious beliefs too. And yeah, I'm gonna have to leave it at that because nothing beats out Kids See Ghosts in 2018, but who knows, maybe something will top it in 2019. Cheers to the new year, and I really can't thank you guys enough for checking out my videos, leaving all the comments, the likes, even subscribing. I'm just happy to be doing a hobby that brings me so much joy, and I'm really looking forward to making it even bigger and better next year. Leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe if you're new in town, and as always, have a rockin' day.